Hello folks, Scott with Dallas Paint Correction and Auto Detailing here in Dallas, Texas. It looks like a crime scene, right? I got a bed sheet on this seat. I want to go through this with you. I can't stop laughing, but I'm going to tell you something. Here's a trick that I do. Not all the time, but there are times that I do it, and I wanted to talk about it. I also wanted to incorporate, somebody asked me a really great question. I don't know if they were a subscriber or not. They're like, Scott, thank you for all the tips, the tricks, the process of getting this stuff done. But go beyond that. Where do you start? What is the mental viewpoint, or whatever you want to call it, when I start detailing the inside of a car? Well, this is what I do, folks. I always start with the interior first. If I'm doing a full detail, I do the inside of the vehicle first. When I'm done with the inside, I close all the doors. I do not go back inside the vehicle. The only time I'll open the doors again is just to clean the inside of the door jambs if any water could have possibly gotten in there when I wash the exterior of the paint. So I do the inside first. I do the headliner first. I evaluate the headliner. Does it need to be cleaned? If it needs to be cleaned, I clean it. That kind of makes sense, right? We got a thing called gravity. You know, if you're spraying chemicals, you don't want to be dripping back down on you and the surface that you've already cleaned down below. So I do the headliner first. I typically start at the edge of the front of the dashboard, right up against the window, and I work this way, down the front of the dashboard, down, do this, and just kind of, that's the way my mind works. I want to go from the edge of the windshield and kind of work this way, do the dashboard, start from the top, work my way down. I'll get the carpets, I'll get the seats, and I'm starting to work towards the rear of the vehicle. Why do I start at the front? Well, here's a little tip for you. When you do auto detailing, and you've done it as long as I have, this is a grueling process. It takes time, it takes effort. I always start where the car is most likely going to be dirty the most. Why? I want to be focused. I want to be hyper diligent, vigilant. I don't know what word to use, but you guys get my point. I want to make sure that my energy is being used on the front of the car where the area is the dirtiest. It makes sense, right? You got the driver in the front seat touching the steering wheel, so this is probably where it's going to be dirty the most. That does not apply if you happen to be driving or detailing a mommy vehicle. If it's a minivan, all bets are off. You might as well flip a coin and go, crap, do I start at the back or the rear? It doesn't matter because the kids are making a mess in the back. I joke, but that's just the reality. That's just the truth. I love all those little kids. But here's the deal. I start from the front, right, and I work my way back. Why in the world do I have a bed sheet over this seat, over the other seat, and dividing the front of the vehicle to the rear? I'm going to tell you why. This is a silly tip, silly trick. You decide if it works in your world. It works in mine, and I use it, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to get in this vehicle with you, a little shaky. Sorry guys. Okay, so I've cleaned the front of the vehicle, right? And I'm working this way. Once I've cleaned the whole front, carpets are all done in the front, the two leather seats are completely dialed in, I put this bed sheet and separate my work area from the front to the rear. Why do I do this? Well, I'm going to tell you. If you're using a cleaner, happens to be my Bona bottle, happens to be super clean, let's say this car was pretty trashed and the leather needed to be cleaned, and I had to be somewhat aggressive. Hate that word, but if you want to get leather clean, you've got to clean it right. So let's say if you've detailed the car, this is going to make a lot of sense to you. If you've never done it before, you're just learning this process as we go, it'll kind of click. The little light bulb will go off in your head. Let's say I've cleaned off the front, the whole front of the vehicle, and I've worked towards the rear. Now I want to start spraying the back of this, around this little grill area, this console area. I want to spray some cleaner on my carpet. When I spray my chemical, right, what's a potential problem? As I spray it, it can overspray and go forward and land on the leather seat up front, and I might not know it. Why is that a problem? Well, whenever you're using any type of cleaner and it lands on a surface you've already cleaned before and you didn't know it was there, it can sit there and dry up and drive you nuts and leave a spot. I know it is so silly. You don't need a bed sheet with these little flowers on it. I don't know. I kind of like it. It puts me in a good mood when I'm cleaning cars, right? So I drape this area, separate the area that's already been cleaned. I don't want to have any issues if I'm spraying here and then I'm taking my brush and agitating and I'm kind of slinging some of that product forward back on areas that I've already cleaned. Does that kind of make sense to you guys? It does to me, because I know what happens as a professional detailer when I got to go looking for the potential of maybe having overspray somewhere. And if you haven't caught it in time, I don't want to use the word stains anything. You'll just have to re-clean that area so you blend the surface once again so it's uniformly clean. Because if your product oversprays and goes forward on an area you've already cleaned and you missed it, I'll tell you who won't miss it. It'll be your customer that doesn't miss it. They might even bring it up to you, or they may never bring it up to you, but you may not do their car again. It is a simple, silly little trick. These bed sheets cost nothing. Your wife probably will let you take one from the house. Maybe it was one your kids peed all over when they were little. Take it, wash it, and drape it over things. So when you're cleaning, if I'm spraying this floor of my carpet cleaner or super clean, and I'm scrubbing and I'm shooting overspray, or what would we call that? Agitation overspray or agitation mist, could go back up on a seat I've already cleaned. This is leather. This is leather here. I don't want my cleaner getting up there and possibly staining an area that I've already cleaned, or leave a mark and I've got to go back and clean it. So that's kind of my process. I start at the tip of the windshield, right? Work my way towards the front of the dashboard, go down and just continue that process all the way back here to the back seat. Finish up the back seat. Once I'm done, I'll take the bed sheet out with me. I will close the doors to the vehicle, and then I will simply wash the vehicle depending on what process I want to do. Maybe I'll do a rinseless wash. Maybe I'll use a multi-mitt bucket wash, whatever. Don't overthink it. Decide whatever works in your world. And the only time I'll open this car again is to open up the doors. I may get some fluid that got inside the jams, and I just simply want to clean it up before I hand the customer back their car. So that's my little tip about bed sheets. No, this isn't an accident scene. Nobody died in the front. We're covering them up. I don't know. It makes sense in my world. It has saved me, because it used to drive me nuts all the time when I had to go looking. Was there potential I had overspray of my product on an area that was already clean? I take it out of the equation. Again, if there's a lot of space between the back and the rear and the seats will move really, really forward, you may not have to worry about it all that much. But in a car like this where things are tight and you might be cleaning the carpet, the back of this little console, you will get overspray on the back of these seats that you've already cleaned, or it will go forward towards the front area that you've already taken care of. It just works wonders in my world. My little tip and trick. I'm trying to figure out what's the title of this video going to be. Bed sheets and auto detailing? What the F, right? What has that got to do with anything? If that helps some of you guys out, it's a silly little thing I do. It helps me. It's not a requirement by any means. But if it helps you, I'm grateful. Thank you so much, guys. Until next time, love one another. Be kind to one another. It all comes back to you. We'll see you soon.